long we've tossed. Safe and sound at home again. The waters roar, Jack. Safe and sound at home again. Let the waters roar, Jack. Long we've tossed on the rolling main. Now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Rolly, 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 ride-o. Since we sailed from Plymouth Sound, 4 years gone or nigh, Jack, was there ever chummies now, such as you and I, Jack? Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. We have worked the self-same gun, quarter-deck division, sponger I and loader you, through the whole commission. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Oftentimes have we laid out, toil no danger fearing, tugging out the flapping sail to the weather rearing. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. When the middle watch was on and the time went slow, boy, who could choose a rousing stave? Who like Jack or Joe, boy? Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. There she swings an empty hulk, not a soul below now. Number 7, starboard mess, Mrs. Jack and Joe now. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, rolly, 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 ride-o. But the best of friends must part, fair or foul the weather. Hand your flipper for a shake, now a drink together. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o.
And so it begins. Once again, we will do our sound check, mic check, 1, 2. Am I coming through? Chip, chip. Am I coming through clearly, ladies and gents, before we start our diatribe? Coming through nice and clear. Houston, can you hear me? Are you there?
Loud and clear, command.
Absolutely, that's brilliant. We're going to ramble. I said I was going to disappear for a while, which I do intend to do, but this is just a news rundown. This isn't anything stressful. So, and Alex sleeps.
It's not anything stressful, sir. How about a cup of stress?
Yeah. So Alex sleeps at ungodly hours. So this is when he's awake. So this is when we stream, apparently. But before we do that, Al, I'm going to touch upon some of the hatred I've received today.
Very good, sir. I'll prepare the news in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. Well, upon my usual daily activities, I've glanced at my phone and a whole new brand of Antifa. This happens to me once a week, basically. Because I visit so many different Antifa locations, they clock on a bit late, maybe a week or two later. And then all these different crews will attack me that may or may not have heard of me already. And they learn the hard way that I don't give a toss. So each of them will come at me with the same news that I've already heard. They'll go onto Google, find all the stuff. Woman harasser. You live in Chinkford. Your real name's Burke. Well, that's all old information that people were using on me 3 years ago, and none of it's true. Well, apart from the fact that my real name is Burke. So they go. These are people that will, unfortunately, become very unstuck when they face people that know how to deal with them. And what they'll do is they'll address you with hundreds of accounts that are all fake or anonymous and goad you into saying things that are unflattering, but they only expect you to take the rap. So, for instance, they'll all offer you to violence, to things like that. But if you was to say yes, you're the one with your face out there. So the 100 accounts that are private, they all just bang. They block you immediately. You get done for conspiracy to violence. They are taught to never, ever, ever let you have your say. That is how you return. When you speak to them, when you see them, when you cover them in journalistic aspects, that's their time to shine. Someone on an anonymous account is not going to show their face. They are looking to report you or get you done by authorities, the same authorities that they claim to be against. I'm just going to quickly go to my Twitter and show you this is just one example of, I got loads of this today and I get this all the time. Hang on. Where is it? Here it is. You was pleased to wake up to this, wasn't you, Al?
There's multiple things I've woken up to today that have had me calm, comforted, and soothed. Don't you worry, my boy. Especially the Maxwell case having some new findings, sir.
I'm worried that you might be echoing through my mic, so I better turn my computer down. Hang on, because when I listened to myself last time, I could hear sometimes an echo from you or something I played through my mic. So I've got to be careful. Audience, please tell me, scream in capitals, because I don't read the chat enough, if I do have an echo. So anyway, point is, why in the name of Judas Iscariot's codpiece would, if I am going to random locations that mean nothing to anyone, put it this way, if I walk up, I know people would take the piss and it'd probably go viral because I'd look like a nutter. But if I walked up to a lamppost and it had nothing on it and I just said, this lamppost is Antifa, no one's going to cut, people are going to take the mic and they're going to go, you're a nutter. But why is it when I go to these places, right, and I say that they're Antifa, that hundreds of Antifa come out of nowhere to convince me that it's not?
When it comes to you being the Pied Piper of Antifa rats, none exceed your competencies in this domain.
Right, so anyway, this first one is someone that I had loads like this, by the way. So this guy's first interaction with me is to ask me, how can you say Antifa has a leadership? It doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. Why would any of these questions even be on your mind if all you are is a graffiti artist or you're just a member of the public that thinks I'm silly? Why would you want to know my fundamental...
This is literally the lines that their superiors tell them to say. So while reading what's in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is not this NPC non-player character mouth-frothing commie saying this. These are the words of their superiors, the cultural Marxist filth that have entered every single institution in Britain and internationally and are subverting it.
No, I didn't show you one. One of them was challenging me on Marxism, and I said... so hang on, right. Well, I'll talk about the man whose daughters died suspiciously and so on quite comfortably with you. The man that never had a job in his life and was funded by very suspicious characters that fled multiple countries without arrest for some reason. I'll happily talk to you about him once you identify yourself. Otherwise, this is a counterproductive discussion. So he was daring to go into the fundamentals of communism with me, claiming to be an artist that I'm wrong, that everything I'm looking at is wrong, yet claiming to be well read on communism. So he was trying to convince me he wasn't a communist Marxist, or they weren't communist Marxists, at the same time as telling me he's well read on the Communist Manifesto, basically. This is the level of stupidity that these people have.
The problem is that because they are always in their echo chambers, when they come across someone who is equally or greater knowledgeable than they are, there is a degree of cognitive dissonance that causes them a great degree of, shall we say, frustration. The salt harvest beckons.
They're used to intimidating others or making others. They don't understand. Like,
yes, they don't like coming across non-low info guys, sir.
Basically, and the thing with Antifa is they base everything on where you live and etc. But I mean, I'm all over the place, and they target things that I don't really have. So with these guys, they go and target me, and they're like, oh crap. Ultimately, all they have is to try and offend me. And if you're the sort of person that can just let that not happen, then they have very little on you. It's not in their interest to hunt you down, believe it or not, because if they are caught doing so, the individuals themselves don't want to be doxxed. They don't want to be doxxed. It's with everything. These particular
yeah, they don't want to be doxxed, but they will gladly ruin your life for social score brownie points among their mouth-frothing commie cultist acolytes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. And the thing is, these people as well, these particular people are huge graffiti artists. So they've got a lot to hide. So if they had any sense, they wouldn't mess with us, to be honest. Because every one of their identities is far more important to them than it is to me. So this guy here, he says he's coming for me. And he's a born and bred North London boy. He sounds very much like he's trying to convince me of how dangerous he is. And bear in mind, you never hear me, ladies and gents, speak of a violent nature. You never hear me speak like that because I wouldn't. Because there's always someone tough around the corner.
Only the left get away with incitements to violent assault. Hear this, Met Police and GCHQ, you caffeine addict useless wastrels.
All right. Let's not make enemies out of them any more than they already are to us, I imagine, in their opinion. So this guy, anyway, I've done myself no favors, blah, 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 usual threats and what have you. But bear in mind, this is often an anonymous account. So if I was to say something childish, he'll just report that. I would be the one to face charges, and he just deletes it, and they don't know who he is anyway. And it's not within the authorities' interest to chase up and leftist Instagrams and Twitters. They won't do that. They just won't do it. And there's nothing more irritating to these people than saying, right, so you won't tell me who you are. Bang, you're gone. Undermine them at every avenue. Once you've exposed them, unless there's some leadership who's going to come out and actually name himself, then do not entertain these people. And it just carried on with loads of babble. Just all the comments and loads of my videos. Just ignorant, what a donut, clueless, Alan Partridge. Everyone calling me. Oh, just
they're. Yeah. I've done what?
It's just everyone calling me a div, basically.
Oh, yes, of course, sir, because it is the only way that they can deal with their emotional frailty. You see, when they are feeling very frustrated that they've been found out as mouth-frothing cultist Marxist filth, they need to attack whoever has exposed them, because the worst thing that the Marxist fears is being exposed and expelled.
Well, look here, interestingly, you know the video I did where I went into the hotel and there was 4 African migrants there telling me it was for the homeless and to go away? Well, this tweet has, on each of the accounts I've seen it on, is now unavailable. Right? Now, this was in Hammersmith, and I've walked into a hotel, and there are 4 Africans that were practicing English, as far as I could tell, sat to the right of me, and some other clearly freshly immigrated individuals on the desk, and it was clearly taking in migrants. It's since been, just like our Hackney video where we show thousands of militant leftists living together in Hackney Wick, that keeps getting removed. And at the same time, people keep coming onto my social media telling me that I'm crazy and I'm wrong. Now, if I was to go about saying that the color green is actually the color purple, no one would report me to the. No authorities would have my stuff removed. No one would shadow ban me. No one would fly into my comments boxes in their hundreds to call me wrong. They might laugh and share it thinking it's funny. They only do it to you when you tell the truth.
Damage mitigation and dismissal obfuscation operations. They are trained in these things. Anyone who's... Oh, by the way, so on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that there is a knob openly declaring that Antifa is not organized, right? So I'm about to link to you all. This is a network diagram of American Antifa domestic terrorist organizations / groupings. Show this to your families, communities, and wider social groups, especially low info folks who are conducting ostrich head in the sand operations.
No, I think we
cognitive...
just had one of the Marxists in here. He said, can you comment on recent misbehavior involving minors? And before we got quickly sorted out by one of our admins, I have to admit I've not seen any coal miners recently, sir, so you'll have to do a bit better than that. What was you saying, Al?
I'm going to carry on with the news article, sir. This is a network diagram. Yes, I'm a little frustrated because I wanted to finish the goddamn article because it's very fucking important.
Sorry,
and it followed up on what you said.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry.
All right, no worries. Flagellate yourself to near-death experience and I may consider your penance worthy. Right. So, what I'm about to link, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to show this to your family. Okay? Show this to anyone who still believes. 1. Antifa is not centrally organized. 2. Antifa is not funded. 3. Antifa is not planning domestic terrorist bloodshed operations against the sovereign citizenry. 4. Antifa is not actively inciting race war operations. 5. Antifa doesn't use military strategic operations. 6. Antifa isn't involved in acquisition of blackmail materials on their members to ensure their collective security. I'm going to continuously link this throughout the stream. I want you all to go to the link when it pops up. Fuck's sakes, it didn't. We're going to fix that immediately. And then we are going to ensure that all of you Antifa mouth-frothing fucks who are actively endeavoring to conduct dismissal obfuscation operations, let them be here.
No, I'm going to ask before. No, admin, stop banning them. Stop banning them. Right, let one of them drop a link to what they're talking about. So stop banning them. As soon as they drop, let them go and actually give reference to what it is they're actually on about. This is what I mean. They'll come in with some bullshit because they'll think you're going to get worried about it or insecure. Drop the facts of what you're saying.
I have absolute proof. Vinnie Sullivan's preference for white-eyed little girls.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Then. Drop
wow.
It. No, stop.
All
Admins,
right.
Let them drop it. Give them 120 seconds. There's loads of them in there. Drop something right now. This is what I'm talking about. So they'll be sitting there in a little crew together or sharing a messenger chat. And they'll do that. And all you've got to do is ask them for something. And that's it. That's how quickly it is.
It's very simple, sir. They're all very desperate. I mean, if they're going to make nonsense accusations when the left are openly pro-pedosexuality and minor-attracted persons normalization, trivialization, and legalization in the case of the North American Man-Boy Love Association, they really don't like the topics of discussion today, do they, sir? But let them keep on doing so. They will condition themselves to be mouth-frothing cultists further, and we will reap a grand salt harvest this November, won't we, sir?
Absolutely. Now,
if it were anything less than a grand salt harvest, I personally would be displeased, sir.
One sec. Looking for my fags. Right, now, before we go on to any other news, admins, stay alert. And because one of the properties I visited, for instance, was the Bird's Nest, and there they had transgender events which were incredibly sexual. You see stickers and symbols all over these places which would I'm not going to discuss what they could mean, but they're certainly indicative of the sort of thing that they would accuse other people of. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing all of these laws being passed in the states such as California, and all of these ticks on Twitter advocating paedophilia. It's funny. It's almost as if the premonitions of a few of us that made many years ago about LGBT and this leftist community has all come true. And all they have on their side is perversion and false info. They can't sit there and talk to you. That's why they hide in their hundreds. It's all about insecurity. They don't know how communism works. They don't know how the basics of Bolshevism work. They don't understand it. They would be incredibly against the Holodomor, but they don't understand any of it. It's about insecurity. For instance, the Bird's Nest. If you look at the bands that are involved in it, watch their videos. They're a bunch of geeks that have got together. The music is awkward. It's awful. You can tell by their body language when they're all together. It's sort of like unsocial people that in their walks of life were very isolated, probably quite perverse, but maybe still straight. And you can tell, like, I watched this one video of them all in a garage, and it was so awkward. And they made this video, bear in mind it's about 9 years old, give them credit, it was 9 years old. And they think they're really cool. And then you realize these are the people that are attacking you in anonymous accounts. And what it does is it strengthens your back because you're doing the right thing. So now look, someone just said Vince watches cuties. So that's the height of the evidence, is it? Vin watches cuties. Thing that we had in
No, sir. This here link has been posted in Mr. Count Dankula's brigade, and they're pulling your leg. Some among them are leftist filth. Others, such as Mr. Ruger, are not. However, in the Count Dankula server, one of the moderators, and I'm going to go live with this, one of the moderators for over 9 months, whenever I post anything from our media in the Count Dankula server, has a bot that declares Vinnie Sullivan is a pedo ! So Count Dankula has put as a moderator someone who has added a bot function to his Discord, whereby any time that your name is mentioned or any of our posts are in there, it comes up immediately after Vinnie Sullivan is a pedo. So you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, that the multi-layered efforts of dismissal, obfuscation, damage mitigation, character assassination, all of the usual tactics from the far left are employed and deployed against us.
Alex,
therefore,
look at the article that just come in.
Fuck them all to death.
Look at your inbox. Look what just come in. I'm not going to talk about it on stream.
Let me have a gander.
See that?
I see. Noted.
Right, okay.
Fair dues.
Yeah, so if the Dank Brigade are in, then they're trolls anyway, whatever, fine. But there's probably, because I've advertised it on my social media, this stream, and they'll be watching it anyway. So there'll be a few of them, which is what's really satisfying to me. That's why it's worth getting up and doing this, because they will be sitting there shitting themselves. They can turn up at marches. They can do what they like. Even if I got killed off, right? The amount of people that will now take interest in this on a genuine nature from the FLA and so on is very interesting, to say the least. It's not like when some div is just having a go with them on Twitter and then they all just get him reported off. No. We talk to lots and lots of people. Lots and lots of people that know exactly what we've done and how hard we've worked. And no amount of slander, no amount of lies, no amount of babble is going to change a thing. I don't care if Sky News comes out and says that I used to make money dogfighting. I don't care if you come out and say that I stole, I don't know, a bunch of puppies from an orphanage. I don't care. You're scumbags. That's the end of it. I gave up my humility a long time ago. I gave up what the public think of me. Google's destroyed that. I've had years to get used to that. Good luck to you, because you won't like it. Anyway, have we got some interesting news to move on to?
Yes, of course. So this here is the DEFRA Landscape Review Final Report 2019, and in it, the British countryside is too white. And obviously, if you type into Google, have there been reports of is the British countryside too white? You will find that they're saying no, nothing has come about from this. But here is a 168-page document, and I'm looking currently for the place where the specific quote comes from. I will be looking for it, but the point of the matter is that they can't wait. They can't execute and replace Whitey fast enough.
Do you
Only
remember
the
that
other
story
day
I told you of the lady who went backpacking? She was Indian. She went backpacking in, I think it was the Grand Canyon, and she said it was too white. And bear in mind, it's the middle of
I
night.
don't recall this, but listen, here's the solution for you if you think that any place is too white. Fuck off to a nation that is not too white for your liking. How about that? How about we don't in fact, it's not enough that you don't like white people. You want to abolish and exterminate white people because you think that the racial hegemony domains where they naturally exist, white racial hegemony domains, because they're too white, we need to, yes, of course, but these are not my words, these are the words of critical race theorists. We must abolish white Anglosphere West racial hegemony. Oh, you like that, YouTube? We must abolish it. Right, I see. It all matters depending on the phrasing, but fuck anyone who wants to abolish white racial hegemony in England, and fuck any political institution, NGO, entity, group, and whatnot, who do not have the spine to stand for such. That is all.
Shout out to Merchant Chauvinist in the chat as well. Massive shout out. Merchant, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm up to my old tricks. You know me. I've got hundreds of Antifa fuming with me at the minute. I suppose if I was less of a man, it wouldn't make me so big-headed, but lucky I'm so egotistical, isn't it, Alex, I suppose? Lucky I'm such a
No, I don't deem it as such. I deem it in a different light, sir. If you were weakened or vulnerable by this shit, I would think the lesser of you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know that saying, though, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? It's not true. If something doesn't kill you, avoid it. Like that, try and avoid it the next time. That's all.
Yes, and try to hide the transcendental power levels. So you have no idea how much my power levels have increased over the last 3 to 6 months. It's becoming 2016 tier again. But no, what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a group of Abrahamics in the world that are openly trying to engineer black on white race war, and they are openly trying to engineer noncery normalization. Yay! Yay! Noncery normalization and black on white race war. Yay! Who could possibly benefit from this? Yay! Hold on, let me get it. Hold on, here we go. Who could possibly benefit from black on white race war and noncery normalization? Who is involved in blackmail entrapment ops involving fucking children and then cannibalizing them worldwide? Is it Mossad?
Whoa.
All right, now I'm calming down, sir. But the point of the matter is that everyone is fixated on their shit dramas and the dramas that Antifa are trying to cause. Meanwhile, a certain sect of the world are trying to normalize noncery and instigate a black on white race war. This will not be forgotten this century. That is all.
You know when you're sort of half-heartedly going, oh, no, stop it. No, don't do that. I can't help it sometimes with you, Al. But please.
Listen, the self-restraint chains, sir, they're not sufficing anymore. We need to come up with a new plan, a better plan, because when it comes to noncery normalization and black and white race war, how am I to restrain myself? Explain to me. Cunts.
Ow.
Don't worry, I'll answer my own question. The answer is not to have emotional fallout from lefty ops, but to construct and preserve a heroic, immortal legacy. This is what I believe is proportionate and necessary at this point in time in history, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Churchill was bumming Kalergi, and
Yeah. Try
he
not
was,
to...
though. All right.
It doesn't necessarily mean he was bumming Churchill.
Sir, if you read the foreword to An Idea Conquers the World, tell me that it is not a gay love letter. Tell me right now that it does not sound like a gay love letter. And I will drop this line of reasoning where I say that Kalergi...
Very subjective. That is not the
Sir,
same as
sir, this is not subjective. So the sparks fly and ideas flourish, but they all die except for Kalergi's white racial extinction idea that will live on throughout the centuries and will be employed with great immediacy. That's literally what Churchill says about Kalergi's practical idealism in An Idea Conquers the World. It is so inevitable.
Drinking his farts through a glass doesn't necessarily mean that they were interlocking loins, elderly loins.
Right. Well, they sure as fuck were ideologically, sir.
Well, yeah. Ideologically, there was all sorts of disgusting actions that went on in their minds, yeah. But whether he was engaging in buggery, we'll never know.
Excuse me. Right, shall we move on to the next piece of news, sir?
Yes, please.
Excuse me, pardon.
Yeah, I mean, because our last week was so spicy, I was hoping we could be a little less spicy.
Yes. So this here is a compilation of news articles from The Observer, The Irish Times, Business Insider, Brookings, The Globe and Mail, The Daily Mail, The Scotland Correspondent, Zero Hedge, Bloomberg Opinion, and New Zealand Herald, I believe. So we're going to go through these titles, and we're going to explain to you all what Kalergi-flavoured white racial extinction fetishism is through these here headlines. The last days of a white world. Irish could be minority ethnic group here by 2050. Norway is greater now than ever before. The population grew 1.3% last year, with immigration accounting for 72% of this growth. This means that the country's population, which has passed the 5 million mark, is now much more diverse. Equally diverse. Let's move on. The US will become minority white in 2045, census projects. The politics of 2036, when Canada is as brown as it is white. Census 2016. Milestone passed as Australia becomes more Asian, less European. Frankfurt becomes first German city where natives are minority. I wonder why it's Frankfurt. I'm going to blink intently now and move on to the next one. Historic European city Antwerp, now majority minority. Yay! Let's and now we shall replace the white guy with the brown guy. Why? Because our master, lord, and prophet Kalergi tells us that the brown mixed negroid soul guy is superior to the singular souled inbred white guy. Therefore, we must replace all of the white guy who can conduct revolutionary war operations against us with the low IQ brown guy. To be ruled over, of course, by the intellectual aristocracy of Europe, the Jews. Not my words, Kalergi's. Let's move on to the next title. White faces will soon be a minority. Rip this Britain. With academic objectivity, Oxford professor and population expert David Coleman says white Britons could be in the minority by the 2060s or sooner. Scotland more diverse with doubling of non-white residents.
Know what less spicy is? Like when I say less spicy and you come out with 15...
This is just one article, sir. No, this is one article.
Less spicy than last time, is it? 15 guys in a sentence, is it?
It's not me saying that, though, sir. It's Kalergi. Kalergi was a Judeophile. He openly refers to lesser races.
Right, carry on.
As the Goy. All right, let's carry on. Scotland more diverse with doubling of non-white residents census shows. The incredible shrinking population. By 2080, Italians will be a minority in their own nation. Whites surprisingly chill about becoming minority from Bloomberg Opinion. With such a huge shift, you might expect more drama. Within 40 years, given current demographic trends, the white population in France and the rest of old Europe will recede, creating a Muslim majority, a French researcher says. Charles Gave, an economist, fund manager, and political commentator, published the conclusions this month on a webpage. his. So, multiple articles preparing the populations of the white European West for white racial extinction fetishism of the Kalergi flavor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the specifics of all of these such plans, buy Practical Idealism on audible.co.uk. The Kalergi plan to destroy the European peoples, in brackets, via replacement migration and consistency of miscegenation of whites into the mixed negroid race of the future. Isn't it glorious, ladies and gentlemen? Are our underlords not such merciful, benevolent, and honorable entities that they wish not to exterminate us in one go like in World War II? They wish to miscegenate us into oblivion throughout this century. How noble, honorable, virtuous, praiseworthy, the international redacted.
Thank you, Alex. As always, as useful as a hole in the head. Right, so let's take a moment away from, and Alex is so correct in what he says. So you're very lucky to hear it, said so honestly and well articulated, because most of the time, most of the people we talk to are very much unwilling to talk about difficult subjects. And we originally knew that the so-called CivNat community a long time before this EthNat community was built, and there's always been problems. But we're going to quickly talk about Steve Laws. Steve has been working frivolously on the coast, much like Active Patriot, and is out there every day. And by the way, I saw an Active Patriot video today, I can go and find it, where he overheard that 500 were expected today. Now, if that's one day and 500, right, can we just first of all agree that the 6 people rule is utter bollocks and that coronavirus doesn't exist? Can we firstly get that out the window, right? So that's that. If you want to dispute me on that, that's up to you. Fine. But I think at this point, it would be, like I've said many times, when I went to Africa, I had to have multiple jabs to do it. If there's 200 people, 500 people coming in a day, it's pretty safe to say that they're not getting jabs for all of these other things, and they're not worried about coronavirus. Call me suspicious. So anyway, it's at the point now where they're just renting coaches. They've got, I've seen genuine military vessels.
They need to accelerate white racial extinction, sir, because too many are becoming white racially conscious. And have you noticed that the Antifa attacks on us have doubled and tripled since white racial consciousness has been an open talking point, because they're actively inciting black on white race war, sir. And fuck Sargon for saying that race is not relevant. He's a moron for saying such. They are openly inciting black on white race war, and you want me not to pay attention to it? Fuck you!
One strength that I think you don't have enough of is pointing out what's being done to both of us here, because we're being outbred and people are being taught to hate us, and none of it's necessary. The lies of the past aren't true. The lies of the present aren't true. There's no reason for black people and white people to detest each other, but there's no reason for us to step on each other's toes.
By the way, sir, would you agree that every group who does not affirm the preservation of the white Anglosphere West is useless at this point?
Obviously.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Right. What's it called? The migrant issue with Mr. Steve Laws, sir. Show the intel. Yep. I'm going to prepare the next news story in the meantime. I'll be back shortly. I'm going to roll a smoke as well.
I was just dealing with an inbox, sorry. So anyway, multitudes of people are coming in a day at this rate. And he is down there. And it's a high risk to himself, let me remind you. But this is what he's seeing, hour after hour. And they're paying for booze. And also, let me remind you, right, that if all of these people up here have got masks on, what it means is they're virtually spending thousands of pounds on a fresh mask, right? So if they're bringing in 500 a day, right, they're bringing in, say, 2,500 a week or something. That's 2,500 masks, brand new, every week, for no reason. Humans, 2,500 humans every week. Maybe more. Maybe a little bit less, who knows, all the same. That's a week. They are building a foreign army. There is no other... It's ridiculous. They would be pumping foreign aid abroad. If the aim was to help these people, we would be pumping billions into their economies and helping them. This is in aid of damaging us.
Well, sir, you see, our leaving from the European Union means that they have to accelerate white racial extinction operations in England because we're going to fuck them off as soon as possible, by December, supposedly. But based on what I've been seeing through the coastline, what basically, as far as I understand it, supposedly the excuse making that the Conservatives are giving is that because of the EU's human rights bollocks, they have to forcibly, and because Theresa May signed us up to the UN Global Compact on safe, orderly, and regular replacement migration, Boris has to supposedly cave into it, even though it's supposedly not legally binding. The human rights laws of the EU are legally binding, and the UN Global Compact is a way of shoving the human rights laws down our throats in order to facilitate and accelerate white racial extinction in Britain. So, right you are. Let me have a gander.
Active Patriot. Look, this is Active Patriot getting involved. Look.
Oh, everyone. What I want you to say.
They're really pissed off with Patriot, I can tell you that.
No worries, man.
So this is Napier Army Barracks.
This is in Kent?
Yeah, this is in Folkestone, the place that you've been there with me a couple times. Well, we was looking at it all through last year. That you've been to Folkestone with me. Bit of a bastard to get to, but obviously the things that we were finding at the time were worth it.
Aye.
Now, I saw a good video from him, from his angle, where he stuck. Look at this boat now. Look at this Border Force boat now. Things that they've stepped it up another level. Look at this boat. That is the boat they should be using. It's got a gun on it, for Christ's sake. It's got a fucking gun on it. That should be used to defend us. I'm trying not to punch the table right now. Look at this boat, ladies and gents. Can you believe this? In fact, Alex, I don't even want to hear your opinion on this. I've dealt with your anger enough this stream.
You're aware what it's going to devolve into if I have the commentary thereupon, sir.
Yeah, but
you know that I'm going to directly name who is responsible for this if I'm given more than 10 seconds, sir.
I don't want it for the rest of the stream, right? You've got that out of your system, all right?
I have, sir.
Right, good. I'm glad we agree, because I tell you what, I am fuming looking at this. How long have we been saying one frigate could protect the entire channel? This one boat here, right, could protect us, could stop all migration as we know it. Do you know how hard it is to smuggle in hundreds of people a day? What you need is help. You need help from the professional coast guards is what you need. This isn't an accident. They're not getting here. For fuck's sake. I mean, how are people still at this point believing that these people are getting these fresh dinghies out of nowhere They've got sod all any money that they believe that they're paying £2,000 to £3,000, as if there isn't someone else paying this, or just telling them to say they paid it when they didn't pay fuck all. Because the people paying billions into Antifa and Black Lives Matter are willing to lose billions to change our demographic situation. So why is it you actually think that these migrants are actually paying them £2,000? No. Someone else is paying these coyotes £2,000 a pop, and they're sending people over because they're willing to take. It's not a loss to them. Cash is not a loss.
Und now, what shall we do, dear Vincent? Shall we not replace the brown, the white?
I've heard it already.
All right. But it is true, is it not? Richtig und... We have to make fun of it every so often, sir. Otherwise, the stress gets to oneself. What's this?
This shows more anger towards whites than it does anything else. This statement here, and you'd be unwise to show any anger about this statement, to give people that sort of satisfaction. But this is someone saying, get ready to fight back. This is our city, talking about London, right? Saying, let's vote for Sadiq Khan. And the only reason you'd say this is because you want to offend whites. It's got nothing to do with politics, nothing else. You wouldn't say, get ready to fight back. Or, you know what these racists will hate. What do you mean? How many racists are there in the countries in which many of these people are assigned to? Or originally assigned to?
By the way, sir, something that needs to be very quickly brought up is that culture is not a... culture is not a... is not sociological per se in origin. It is racial. The culture and nationhood and laws and ethics of a people's do not come from society or culture or whatsoever. It comes from the R word, sir. And there are civilizations in the world that create a lesser tier of civilization based on redacted. Because, throwing children up of buildings... Go ahead, sir.
You're useless. It's not even that, Al, because the people being brought in are deliberately brought in from third world places where they've never known what it is to have a flower bed, right? Stop making it something else.
No. I'm saying very specifically that what is England is a racial construct, and they want to tamper with it. I should have phrased it like that, sir.
Obvious, Alex, right? But the people in the chat know that.
Not exactly, sir. All of the lefties think that society is a construct of whatever the fuck their Marxist professors tell them to. But anyway, carry on.
I'm so tempted to just use that beautiful kick button. I'm hovering over it, but luckily I'm digging deep. The audience will hate me if I kick you, so I'll have to leave you here. You're powerful at the moment.
Saintly discipline, sir. Are you not resilient and well trained?
No. I'm not resilient. You annoy me. Sorry, I forget the audience.
Imagine how much I'd annoy the leftist as well, sir. They can't even call me a thick cunt. That must annoy them most, methinks.
Hey, fucking no, is it? No, I'm not taking him home.
Taking the piss.
I ain't taking him home. I ain't taking him home. It's a threat. You give a fuck? No!
He's actually
Right, he's fucking his table.
And you're sick.
I don't have to.
You're sick.
Hey, fucking doors.
You're watching history here, ladies and gents.
You're sick.
No, I'm not taking him home.
Taking the
So people have been kicked out of their homes, as far as I understand, and these people are just being brought in. This is virtually replacement, whites have been moved out of there, and migrants are being moved in. Non-whites are being moved in. You couldn't make this up. All of this, if it wasn't for the likes of Steve Law and Active at these particular sites, we wouldn't know about. You would just wonder how our demographic replacement has changed so quickly, and they would have told you, it's natural, it's for the best. Coronavirus would suddenly go away when we've all got these jabs that make white people infertile, and we're all chipped, and next thing you know, society's fine, and then they don this race war of a foreign army, which they have clearly human trafficked via the money that all of you have earned throughout the years. This is all at the expense of the taxpayer. Every penny of it. These cabs, the Navy's use. I see the Ministry of Defence posting, great big frigates out practicing and stuff. Our army practicing in all over the world, doing all these impressive things, and they are also funding millions of pounds into the trafficking of our country. We can prove who is involved in all of this, but we don't do it because then it makes our life unsafe. And this is why I have to tell Alex to shut up. This is why I have to pull him back from talking to people. Because, the real world's a lot nastier than just telling the truth. Telling the truth is hard to bear because you realize, as I've said many times, that the things that you were taught growing up moral-wise are all wrong. That being good and good will come to you isn't true. That evil does rule. That if you do the right thing, people will protect evil. If a child is being torn to shreds and you can prove it, you better believe that there's a high chance someone's going to put you in trouble because they'd rather protect the agenda and something that goes back a very long time than that true moral code you thought your mum and dad taught you or your school teacher taught you when they told you do good unto others and it'll happen to you. Absolute bollocks. The real world is nothing like that. The people left in charge to look after you are relying on that. They're relying on that same sort of utopianism. Everyone's the same. Everything's fine. They tell you to be a capitalist, but then tell you everyone's the same. So are you an entrepreneurial capitalist or are you a non-important communist? And these are the factions that are always pulling you left and right. You'll have one part, if you go back 70 years, it will look no different, or 60 years, you'll have them talking about China, doing Labour in support of China doing some mad shit, and the communists pretending they care about Northern Ireland. Conservatives. But when in fact they've all been serving to do something horrific to us for a long time. And the only reason it hasn't gone quicker, because when people say, well, if this story is true, why is it taking so long? Because the same reason they had to lock certain people up to stop risings. Because we are very intelligent people. And it doesn't take much for the entire population to see what's going on. And half the reason we're going to have a break, or I'm going to have a break, is it's becoming very difficult. It's becoming next to impossible to not go too far.
It is very difficult, sir, when they're inciting black on white race war and normalizing noncery. Like those two things combined, how are you supposed to be
careful,
mild with it when they are doing those two things? How are you supposed to mildly present to the world? How are you supposed to it's a genuine question, by the way, it's not rhetorical. How am I and others supposed to genuinely present to the world that the Abrahamics are actively trying to normalize noncery and instigate black on white race war to execute Whitey so that they can replace him easier? How am I supposed to make this mild, sir, when the thing itself is not mild? It's a catch-22 thing.
This is why we have to have a break, Al, because at this point, it's so blatant what's going on. I think all that you become is a piñata for them to make an example out of, because you've got bloody Wiley at it, I think everyone, and you look, this character in the chat, let him speak his mind. Yeah, you want Alex to speak his mind, don't you? I bet you do. I bet you do. I bet you love Alex speaking out in that way because you're not the one with your voice out there. You're not the one who's going to face the blame. And there's a lot of people that will come in and say, oh, Al, say this. But this on an anonymous profile. They wouldn't even say it on their own Facebook because they might lose their Facebook, never mind their job. Then we carry on with a couple more of Steve's stories because this is just him, you know, on his own, out and about. Look at these coaches and buses, boats upon boats. Most people would love to just own one of those boats for leisure. The Home Office has got them racked up. And these aren't cheap boats that the migrants have got hold of by accident. Look, they're all motorboats. They're all clean motorboats. What's this? So, is this the barracks that they kick people out of? And this is them now living in it? I don't know. No, they wouldn't have been living in the actual barracks. I thought that was Leonardo DiCaprio. That's the chap who was killed. Oh, yeah, Jesus. Before we move on, London last week. Al.
You mean them up and executing a man in cold blood? The pigs?
Very, very, you know, it's really unprofessional. I have to keep reminding you.
Of course, sir, but they executed a man in cold blood. This has happened twice
all you
now.
Do, right? All you do is you make it sound like I have to be too PC because you can't just find the medium.
All right, I hear you.
You know what I mean? So
self-restraint, but self-restraint. But the fact of the matter is, worry not, sir. Self-restraint. They executed a man in cold blood. The pigs are murderers for the last week.
See what I mean? You just...
What have I said that's wrong? Did they execute a man in cold blood or not?
No, they didn't. They struck a man and he died. That's not the same as execution. That's slander.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Are you meant to be on live right now or not?
Do you know what their briefings tell them about the protests?
I'm just going to kick you.
No, sir. Just a second. Before you do, I'm going to make a point on the police thing, and it's not going to be too intense. I want to talk about their briefings. What do the police get briefed?
I am not interested. Learn the difference between saying something that's true and is not true. If someone struck someone and then they die, it's not the same as execution. Can you agree that for the public and legal record? Yes, thank you.
Depends on what the motive is.
See what I mean?
Does the police officer have a history of hating the working class?
It's just direct slander.
It's not direct slander. If it was the other way around, it would be a hate crime.
Exactly. Look, you can't say execution. Thank you, chap. Will you sort yourself out? Straight up, that is accusing someone of premeditated murder. So can you please admit?
I don't know. I don't know if the London Metro Police have an anti-white bias, sir. We should look into it.
Yeah, but they clearly have an anti-white bias. But I'm asking.
Anyway, all right. For the public and legal record, I am ambivalent on the execution-murder-death of the citizen who was at the protest last week.
Right. So, thank you. No. And someone says stop arguing about wording. Okay, Christopher.
Wording fucking matters.
Exactly. So make a video of yourself on your Instagram right now saying exactly what he said. If you say don't worry about wording, that's our job to worry about wording. Because in England, in this country, their greatest weapon against us is our speech. That's why Americans always talk about this thing called the freedom of speech law. Because they're very subjective over here, and then they decide to do with law as they please. And it's very unprofessional to have to remind one of my colleagues again and again because he gets so angry on stream.
Well, I mean, a man's dead because they receive anti-white briefings. At the London police, sir.
I need to dig deep here, Al. I really do. Have you got anything sensible to say? Or shall I?
Yeah, I'm very fucking sad. I'm
Yeah,
very
well,
fucking sad for the guy and his family, in
You're
all
not going to be
honesty.
as sad as the absolute flying drop kick after the stream.
All right, sir. It's a mix of anger, fury, and Marxist ill disposition, because you can
But
bet your ass that the police are briefed on anti-white
yeah, well,
garbage.
when they come and get you, it's your fault, mate. I've had enough of it. Go on then, sell
All
it.
right, I hear you.
Go on, sell it
Shall
up.
we move on to the next story, sir?
No, go on, repeat it all again. Go on.
No, we can move on to the next story now, sir. We've repeated it enough.
Knob.
I
Right,
hear you.
carry on.
Next story, sir.
Yes, please.
Shall we go through the list of everyone on Maxwell's list, sir?
Yeah, go on.
Right, let me just find it. Hold on a second. Right, just a second. Let me find it. Hold on.
This is what it's like working with Alex.
Right, here we go. From the Maxwell files that were released. Compiled list of names from Epstein's Island flight logs. First 200 pages of 2000.
But it's only alleged to be true when before we
No,
were
sir.
naming people.
This is from the actual Black Book.
Once again, Alex, alleged to be the actual Black Book. We cannot be sure.
The flight logs are public knowledge, sir.
Okay, fine. Once again, alleged.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll claim alleged, but you can look at the Epstein's Black Book on your own time, ladies and gents. So let me just bring it up again, just a second, and shall I link it in the chat, sir, for everyone to have a gander?
Mm-hmm.
All right, beautiful. Hang on a second. Just a second. Let me just prepare it proper so that people know what they're looking at. Here we go.
If you have another
Here we
spur,
go.
like, I'm not going
Yeah,
to
don't worry, sir. I am now only calm, collected.
I'll get rid of it. I'm not going to
There
let
will
you.
be.
The whole point is, if you're spurging,
Yes, there will be no more ass clenching. Worry not. Right, so we're going to go through this list now. Just a second. Let me get it on my screen as well.
Make your own channel and destroy that.
Yes, sir. I hear you. Let's begin. Homer Aberdeen, Laura Silsby, Rachel Chandler, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, John Podesta, Michael Podesta, James Olifantis, Anthony Weiner, Leslie Wexner, Herbert Strauss, Isidore Strauss, Martin A. Novak, Steven Spielberg, Edgar Bronfman Sr. Steven Spielberg, sir.
Oh.
Charles Bronfman, Michael Steinhardt, former hedge fund manager, Sarah Bronfman, Claire Bronfman from the Nexium sex cult, Niles Leachman, professor at Portland State University, Seth Roger, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the recently deceased, Alison Mack of the Nexium sex cult, Robert Maxwell of Victoria's Secret, Vendi Murdoch, Jonathan Chaban, Naomi Campbell, Maximilian Chow, Val Kilmer, Marina Abramovic. List of Hollywood pedo names: Steven Spielberg, Michael Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Alison Mack, Mark Collins Rector, founder of Den, Chad Shackley, Brock Pierce, David Geffen, Tom Hanks, Dustin Hoffman, Andrew Kreisberg, American television writer-producer, Brian Singer, Harvey Weinstein, Bob Weinstein, Roman Polanski, Rumor Hazard, Charlie Sheen, Madonna, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus,
Alex,
Errol Flynn.
Alex,
Yes.
your first statement is completely unfounded because none of them have gone to court, have they?
Yeah, they have.
What, each of these people for what?
All of these people are on his flight log list.
That doesn't make them
Alison Mack, Bronfman's, and the what's it called? Let me find it. The CEO of Victoria's Secret is a repeated visitor.
Right.
You're wrong.
Once again, I'm having to explain to you, someone I've worked with for years. You cannot say each of them is that thing because you weren't there and you didn't see it. So
No, they weren't. They're not that thing, sir.
Shush, you can't say the paedophile list.
Right. Okay,
Right,
what were they
you
doing
say-
on the island, sir?
Who knows? You can. So
Right.
you're giving the public the information that you can see. You don't know because you wasn't there. That's how law works.
The FBI are literally investigating it
That's
in
how
public
law
as a
works.
pedo
Doesn't matter
list.
what they're doing. That's how
All
law
right.
works. Shut
All
up.
right. All right.
Idiot.
Shall we continue with the list, sir?
Yeah, and this. Yeah.
All right. Let's carry on. Madonna, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, Errol Flynn, Billy Graham, Walt Disney, Michael Laney, former Walt Disney Vice President, James Gunn of Disney. List of names of celebs connected to CIA and Mossad. Heidi, Flace, Jeffrey Epstein. List of names connected to satanic cults. Alison Mack, Stormy Daniels, Rachel Chandler, Ghislaine Maxwell. List of names of visitors on Epstein Island.
Sorry, ladies and gents. I love Alex to bits, but I've had enough. Kicked him. Whenever he wakes up, he's too much. Every time he wakes up, he's too much. So now I'm going to resend him the stream link. Now he's had a minute to think. Right. And then we're going to close up. And he can have a little outro. Where is he? There he is. Check your inbox, Wally. There's your stream link. Now, it's okay to be heated and it's okay to feel anger with these issues, but you do have to be very careful what you say and how you say things. And that applies to all of you in the street as well, especially when you're in your social media. Because the enemies of morality are always on the lookout for examples and to catch people out, and especially people that are knowledgeable. Exactly, Abby. It's old news. It's not worth repeating the talking points that get you in trouble. So Alex, he keeps waking up saying, right, let's stream, because he sleeps at funny hours so he can do audiobooks. He wakes up, he's too gun-ho. I'm like, right, no out, boom, right, you've had an hour and a half off, you know. But I certainly understand. I'm waiting for him now. I've sent him the link. People saying, boo, bring back Alex. But I've always gone out of my way to make sure he's as safe as possible, considering he's making audiobooks, the likes of Practical Idealism. It's not the safest thing you can do in the world. Doesn't look like he's going to bother. So what I'll do is I'll give you his Telegram channel. Bear with me. I'll go and get Alex's Telegram channel. That's it. He's seen it now. He's going to come back. Dickhead. There he is. Right. You ready, everyone?
It's relevant.
Right. There we go. Have you got a calm outro that we can leave on?
Let me just where the fuck was my thing? Vin, I need to say one final thing on this point. I'm not going to go through the names. Don't worry.
No, I don't care what you're saying. What bothers me is when you get heated.
All right.
You confuse. No, Al, hang on. You just forget sometimes how to address the things, because you and I may know what's going on, but the people listening don't care what the truth is. They care how they can stitch you up. Remember that. And you know that more than anyone. You're the one who sits there telling newbies exactly what to look out for. So always alleged.
You think it's too gung-ho to openly let everyone know that Hollywood...
Yes, it is. Yeah,
we don't have the...
You can only allude, Alex. Okay?
Right.
And also, someone else said it in the chat themselves. They said a lot of this is old news. So when you are so outspoken on it, you're unnecessarily making a target of yourself over something that most people already know.
No, this is not old news, sir, because there's new shit coming out.
No, I'll give you that. But at the same time, you don't need to raise yourself to a fever pitch to the point where...
Right. Well, who the fuck is going to listen if you don't?
Al, listen, I'm on your side. But please,
all right. No worries, sir.
Let's have a calm outro. Yeah? You know, because it's difficult.
I
Half-
think that that's a very good idea. I'm going to roll a smoke nicotine stick. It'll do me good, sir. I've only had one since waking up, and before I have had two, the nicotine is required, sir.
This is what I mean.
All right.
No, and I wanted a few weeks off streaming. You've got me back on here. And you're
Well,
going, "No."
yes, but it's going to be an hour and 30-odd minutes of great bloody content that can go on BitChute.
It's probably going to have to now. I'm going to take it down. You can.
It's
you can
been a
download
bit
it.
spicy, so worry not.
Yeah, you can download it and you can put it on BitChute. But as
Very
far as
good.
I think it was too spicy to leave up, to be honest. Because
Very much so, sir.
yeah, and looking back now, you know that, Al.
Yes, of course, but if you tell me this is too spicy, I feel compelled subliminally to be a bit more gung-ho if it's going to get fucked off anyway. You have, all right, don't worry about it, though.
I'm not going to get rid of it.
Very
You're
good,
still
sir.
at it, but I can't-
Tranquillo.
Yeah, it's just
Tranquillo, sir.
Right, okay.
You are permitted to experience all of the emotional range of experiences except for the worries. You are forbidden to
LG
experience
says,
the worries.
You've been calm this whole time. She doesn't know you. She does not know you at all. Alex goes from 0 to 100 pretty quick. So I was going to get your, just before I let you back in, I was going to get the link to your Telegram. 1 sec. And this is, our Telegram's pretty small, so don't join it. Because also I'm going to get his Twitter. One sec. Honestly, you're a test for any man now.
A test of discipline by the deities, sir.
Absolutely. And here, going in now, is Al's Twitter. Please give Al a follow on Twitter. I'm forever trying to lower his spice levels on there as well, as you can imagine. I have a lot to be working on as well. I've got to get to work with a couple of lads on a project I've got coming up. So we are going to come to a close. Alex, have you got any closing points, as long as they're nice and calm? Oi. Trouble.
Oh shit, I had myself muted. One of our members wanted to bring up and talk about this here article, sir. I'm going to link it to you now. How about you read this and then we close up, sir?
Right, you are.
This is from a socialist website trying to make heroes out of mouth-frothing Marxist filth. Observe, sir. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, all of Marxism is founded on emotional blackmail. So long as you are inoculated to emotional blackmail, you are inoculated to Marxism and critical race theory and critical queer theory and feminism and all of the inventions of redacted, Frankfurt School, redacted.
Anti-Fascist Action was an important organisation that took a position of fighting the far right on the streets as well. I want more than ever. I know everyone's bored of the same old talking points, but you know, I want more than ever for people to define what far right means now. Someone's just said to me,
anyone who's not a Marxist parasite, sir.
The little veteran has he been arrested again? Hang on. The little veteran who's been bringing live footage from Penley in Wales as they're trying to bring illegal immigrants into this small town has today been arrested and his car SE, I imagine he was going to say seized.
Oi, 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 shut it down. Ain't it so, sir?
Shut it down.
Sir, I insist that before we end the stream that you play Shut It Down, the movie, the 10-second clip, sir. It must be done now. We have invoked its presence.
I had it on Twitter. Where am I going to find that? Hang on 1 sec.
I'll DM it to you. Don't you worry. Go
You
through
got
the
to find it on my
article. It'll be very
Twitter.
neat.
I can't share it on Telegram. I need it on my Twitter.
All right.
So wait there a sec. Hang
All right. I'm going to go to the toilet a brief moment. I'll be back shortly.
I'll see if I can find it on my page. 1 sec. Oh, bugger. Oh. 1 sec, ladies and gents. I'll be with you in just a sec. I'm just looking for a particular tweet. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, you know. Unless... No, I'm going to need Al to find it when he's back. Sorry for the moment of silence, everyone. I was trying to concentrate to find something. Probably enjoyed the moment of silence with hearing our voices for this amount of time, especially being at Al at each other's throats all the time. There's a series of people around me, right, and they sound just as clever as Alex, and they don't give me the same headache that some do, but he is just a nightmare. Al, are you back yet? I'm going to put this website, because this looks like some self-glorified load of bollocks that Antifa have written to give themselves an excuse for existing with a decent archive of what they've been up to. So here's this website. I'm going to put it in the chat. For those of you that have got the right eyes that will bother to look at things like this, maybe you'll see something that we don't have time to. Alex, you're muted. Are you back?
Right, I'm back.
Right, I can't find the video on Twitter. How can you find me the video on Telegram? You're muted again, mate. Alex, you're muted. Oh, just honestly, I detest him. Honestly, can't stand the man.
There we go, sir. It's in your inbox. I was looking for it and I found it. What's going on, buddy?
That's it then. Sorted. Right. Is this right? Okay. So how do I share my screen? Okay. So if I go to share screen, here we go. Application window. No, that's not it. No, not. I'll tell you what. Stick with the audience for a minute. I'm going to put it on my Twitter right now, and then I'll play it from my Twitter.
Say it ain't so, sir.
Yeah.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this here stream, if you're tuning in late, will be up on BitChute within 1 hour or so after we finish streaming, so you won't miss it. All right.
Also, the meme I'm about to put up is a true story. Oh, no.
Sir, I found the footage of little veteran getting arrested. Do you want to have a look at this presently, sir?
But send that to me while I play that. I'll play that while I'm writing this tweet. Send that to me now, please, and I'll play that.
Very
for the
good, sir. In your inbox.
Oh, it's Steve as well. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, he'll have no problem with this. Oh. No, that's on Telegram. Is it? Can you get it on Twitter for me, please? I reckon Steve will have it.
Let's have a gander.
Let me get Steve's account. He'll have it. Here we go.
Particularly good work has been done by the man as of recently. Utmost
Steve,
commendations to
legend,
him.
mate. Honestly, he's had my respect out of nowhere. Right, so share screen. Steve Laws. Everyone go and follow this guy as well. Don't just think about it. Go and do it. So this is it happening.
Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift your side, trying to get your boy, your man to lift your side going. Yeah, it's trying to lift.
Al, can you talk to the audience, please, and write a tweet?
Yes, of course. The video is playing, though.
Oh, is it still going?
Yes, sir. It's quite a long one. Oh, wait, no, it's 10 seconds long, and I'm not with it yet because I've not had my second smoke. Well, consider yourself lucky for getting a very prolonged period of silence, sir, is how I would view it. That has now ceased. Shall we begin, then?
Just look after them for a minute, Al, just while I...
yes, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, what you need to know is that poor Mr. Binzend is the most stressed man in England. One of the most stressed men in England. Why, you ask? This here voice is jackhammered into his head on a daily basis. Can you imagine being in a padded room and hearing my voice on the telecom every day? Gentlemen, ladies. And the man is not crazy yet, therefore he is victorious. All right. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lady called Ambrosine Shitrid who is openly trying to smear a man called James Goddard. I wonder why. You'll find this story on t.me/The Reality Report. If you want to know your liberal Marxist enemies who try and wear sheep's clothing but are actually wolves in disguise, have a look at t.me/The Reality Report. Scroll up, and you will find all relevant information there concerning leftist assets conducting character assassination operations. Enjoy. Wait, pardon, what are you looking for presently, sir, so that I can post something that's relevant to what you're looking for?
The status says innocent artists moment after visiting an Antifa location.
Entirely relevant to how much they've been seethe coping, sir.
Right, okay, that should be up, and I can now go and show the audience. So this is a true story. This is actual footage that I'm about to show you now that we got from inside Google headquarters of when some of my videos got out, and this is the response that happened. Brace yourself for this, ladies and gents, because this is a true story. Did I share the audio? Don't think I did, so I'll do it again. Stop screen. Share screen. So yes, every time I do make a video, this is the reality. This is my life. This has been my life for the last 3 years. Every time I go out and do something, this is the immediate aftermath.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
Every time. Every bloody time. Shut it down.
Shut it down!
True story.
We're reaching levels of shut it down that shouldn't even be remotely impossible, but the problem is they can't shut it down because they created it.
True story. That was inside Google headquarters after some of my anti-Antifa videos come out. Don't ask us how we got the footage. We just got connections, I suppose. Anyway, Al, I'm going to play the same song that we came in on to leave. I suppose you're okay for us to finish?
Yes, could you all please go to audible.co.uk and buy Easy Meat Inside Britain's Grooming Gang Scandal and Practical Idealism, the Kalergi Plan to Destroy European Peoples. I would really appreciate it if you could give it to your... Yeah, I'll do that then. Just a moment, sir. Pardon. Yeah, anyway, give these audiobooks to your local community, your family, everyone, because if you, your family, your community know about this shit, you've already won half the battle by knowing the evils that they want to inflict upon you and yours. If you give a shit about the preservation of the White Anglosphere West, buy these 2 audiobooks and send them to your family and community. That is all. I'm going to link them now. Easy Meat and Practical Idealism on audible.co.uk. Go have a gander. I'm linking them now. Here we go.
Hang on. I can't see him now.
Just a second. I'm getting it ready. There we go. That's the one for the UK users. Audiobook link. This is Easy Meat for the American users. And this here is Practical Idealism. Only one link. Pardon. I've run out of promotional... what's it called? I've run out of promotional stuff where I can give the audiobook for free, so I can't offer any of the codes in the chat right now. I do apologize for this. By the end of the year, I should have some more free promo codes, but until that point in time, you should definitely go and have a gander at this here, which is Kalergi and his plans for white racial replacement in his own words. Not mine, his. All right, so I'm going to link it now. Pardon just a second. Here we go. Oh, come on. Why is the chat not working? Okay, here we go. There you go. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a comfortable and smug evening. Any of you who would like to rewatch this here stream, it will be on my BitChute within the hour, and we will have the BitChute link up and ready on t.me/The Reality Report in T plus 1 hour and 30 minutes or so. Shall we move on, sir, to the music and the outro?
Yeah, I'm about to put
Right,
it out.
beautiful. Right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Till next time.
So, everyone, thanks for joining us. Thank you. And I know that you don't mind Alex going nuts, and I'm sure you'll forgive me for sometimes telling him to cool it down. And usually he's more sensible, but I just worry in the current climate about his safety and others when it comes to legalities. And I'm sure, and it applies to all of you. It doesn't mean you shouldn't tell the truth. Because the amount of times that I have to name things is ridiculous. But do it when it's right. And if you have to use forceful language when it's right, then do it. But don't just do it on a stream for the sake of it. Anyway, I hope that some of you will join me for the 3 minutes, whatever it is, outro. I'm going to listen to it with you. I'm not just going to mute and bugger off. I'm going to listen to this song with you because I enjoy it. I enjoy all of the songs that I pick. I don't just pick them for the sake of it. And they also give me a feeling of a time that I wasn't around. And if we're not careful, it'll all be forgotten, because I don't see any future history lessons talking about sea shanties and times of old. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gents. I hope to see you all soon. Before I go anywhere, I'm going to put my channel's my Telegram channel in the chat now. So if you want to join that, it's up to you. There's also a link chat called Vinnie Sullivan Chat, which is called Discussion at the bottom. Feel free to join, trolls. You'll just get kicked immediately. And if you want to sit there and spy, suit yourself, pipe up at your own risk. There's a lot of people in there that will just sort you out. So anyway, ladies and gents, thank you. I'm going to go now share my screen. And ask you to stand by the truth, because we will be there waiting for you. And as always, I have to ask you to think for yourself. Not sure if I shared the audio, so I'm going to do it again. I cut it off quickly before it started. I probably did, but just on the safe side. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gents, as always.
Safe and sound at home again, let the waters roar, Jack. Safe and sound at home again, let the waters roar, Jack. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, rolly, 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 ride-o. Since we sailed from Plymouth Sound, 4 years gone or nigh, Jack, was there ever chummies now, such as you and I, Jack? Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. We have worked the self-same gun, quarter-deck division, sponger I and loader you, through the whole commission. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Oftentimes have we laid out, toil no danger fearing, tugging out the flapping sail to the weather rearing. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. When the middle watch was on and the time went slow, boy, who could choose a rousing stave? Who like Jack or Joe, boy? Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. There she swings an empty hulk, not a soul below now. Number 7, starboard mess, Mrs. Jack and Joe now. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. But the best of friends must part, fair or foul the weather, hand your flipper for a shake. Now a drink together. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Folly, rolly, 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 ride. Oh, long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Folly, rolly, 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 ride. Oh.
Take care, everyone. Someone's got to.